Welcome you all in this live session, and let's quickly start. What is this program today? And this program is especially for the HR leader who are into the strategic role or either into the organization development role. And this is especially how you can identify the competency. But before that, every organization they are facing with the issue to retain the people, because organization don't have a realistic and a ideal image for their employee. So that's why the issue of the great resignation are there, and we are discussing all those points here in this live session, and the many insights I will share with you, so that you can resonate that at your workplace, where you maybe implement that on your workplace from tomorrow, as well as you can get some real instant of the employee images or employee image in the different verticals and different levels into your organization. It's not about the program, it is a master class, and we have to start it because we have only the 1 hour. So by 10 or maximum 10:10, we will be conclude the whole learning and insight what I'm sharing with you today. So let's come forward, and I am here now bringing you on the screen what is here for this today's session and what we are covering in this live session, so that you can get everything what we have been planned as today's masterclass, as well as the agenda on the competency identification, as well as the employee image design, how you can help your organization to address the great resignation issue as well as the retention issue into your organization. That will be depend on the core design of your organization. First one foremost part for the HR strategist, and secondly, there I will share with you some processes how you can easily identify or the either image of the your employee, which is based on their functioning, their approaches, what organization are looking for, and how you can drive the maximum result through your human capital, which is an essential part of a businesses. Without human capital, you cannot, your organization cannot achieve those goals. Now the thing is that when an organization they have the objective to achieve something, either it is part of the services and their product whatever is there, but next level it is to how to achieve those goals at the end, what has been defined by the organization, where they have to go into their whole journey, which has been decided either through their mission, vision, and values. That is also a one important part where you have to be identify the competencies, and those come with alternatively, and at the end where you are looking forward with an employee image, and how should be your employee look like. That is the objective of this master class today that I'm sharing with you here. So there are the 2 3 important things which I am also driving you together or through this whole 1 hour of this session. So competency, you are well aware about all this. The role of into the competency when identifying, there is one important role of the competence, which is coming through the skill, knowledge, and ability of the individual. But here I am sharing with you that is beyond that knowledge, skill, and ability everyone have, but into the organization, how the strategic human resource leader can identify competence level into the organization, not organization, into the individual employee, and accordingly you can design an image of an employee, what it is required for an organization to achieve their goals. What I am sharing with you here, so that is at the end one process of automation of your people processes into the HR by the people, because HR does not like in the businesses into the business as in the function of the operational and product designing, product development. Separately, you have the specific involvement into the organization to design the success of your organization. So that insight as well as the processes I'm sharing here with you to ultimately how you can define and identify an employee image for an organization, so that organization can become the great organization, which is also known as the great place to work. So those organization, what are the insights I'm sharing it with you? These we have been brought from the 500 fortune companies, and rather into the 500 fortune companies only 5 to 10% of the organization are using these strategies into their organization. So that's why there the great resignation does not impact those organization. And then at the end, I am also sharing with you something that the how to implement those competencies, as you have to now come into the action. That image you have been identified, but next, how you are now mapping that or putting your people into the action to achieve those goals with that ideal image you have been defined. At the end, here I have also something for you as a solution, where some toolkits I am also giving you, so that who will be stay till the end, they will be get something additionally, where you can implement these competencies or what I am sharing with you in your organization from tomorrow itself. So some insight I'm sharing here with you, and the next level, you have to be study something, and then you can become a not expert, but one level of prominency into the designing and implement. The first one, it is the identification. Second, it is designing of the employee image into the organization. So now this come about the what is this, and these master classes. So these master classes are initiated by SLA. So SLA is the SBR HR Learning Academy, which is specially dedicated to developing the human resources professional into the futuric, or the especially for the futuric growth, and the approaches how they can sustain for a long instant or the long journey of their HR profession into the organization, which some drawbacks we have been seen during the COVID or the pandemic period since 2020 until now. We are having such, even though it is some little bit gap into their functionality or their image, how they are presenting themselves. So little bit insight I'm sharing with you in this masterclass about your self as an HR, how you can develop your image too. So this come now the objective of this masterclass. It is about the identification of the competencies. So competencies, however, it is about the how an individual they can perform their design or their designated or they what are the goal you have been designed for them, you have been given to them, how they can get those goal done with the systematic approach and way. And secondly, after that, when you have been identify such competencies, and how you can imagine or design an image for the ideal employee for your organization, this is the objective of this master class. Now come to that here, everyone, maybe you are into the HR or any field related to the HR, so you are well aware about the competency. But next, the issue is that how you have to identify those competencies, where the actually the organization they mistake to describe it properly, so that they does not get it the result. However, there are the many types of the tools available, models available, but still there those models are not effectively, even though that doesn't not implemented. So that's why that does not give you the acquire or the required result when the organization they putting themselves into designing of the competencies. But how you can be effectively design the competencies for your organization. And secondly, most important, which here I'm sharing with you, that is about designing of the image of individual employee in your organization, who will be deliver maximum performance into their given role. That is the objective and the aspect of this today's masterclass, designing of the employee image for an organization. If you can design an image for an organization, how should be your employee or individual employee in the different, it is not about there are the different, but employee image, who is holding a position, in that position what are their activity, what are their role, and how they achieve that given goals into those role which has been defined into the organization. So that's why in the beginning I have been shared with you, it is started with the organization design. When your organization are effectively designed with a way of a strategic or the functional based organization, then easily you can identify the competencies and put them into the next level as an identified image of your individual or individual position. It is not individual employee, it is in the individual position into the organization that here I'm covering. But furthermore, here are many questions which come through the registration form by every participant who has been asked, so that I'm also covering here during the session, because this is only the 1 hour of the session, so that I am here not getting all the question one by one, but you will be get the answer during the session. And secondly, there we have some approaches also. All those questions we are also getting them into the right opinion with our experts also. Then we will deliver it through the social media. We are also live at present on the social media too, so there many members also have been joined, so you will get the insight there related to all your questions and the query, when we will discuss in with our expert and getting you the right solution, how you have to be get solution or implement or get a solution in those queries which you have been raised during the registration. So there are the many questions which here the participants or the who has been a register. However, there were around more than 50 number of the registration for this today's masterclass, but only joined 16 or 17. Now it is around 13 only. So all those questions, however, I am covering it all here so that you can get all those insights related to your queries. Now come to here, when we talk about the identification of the competencies, and it is about your employee image, because when you are putting your organization hierarchy or designing an organization, then it come to the there may be multi-level or the multi-layer of the hierarchy which started from the ground level to the top. So in that, when those hierarchy and different level of the organization steps are there to achieving based on the functions, there it is started with the next level to identifying the image of an employee who should be at least in that particular area or the function or the specific position you have been deployed. So how they should be perform in that particular position which you have been allotted deployed to that particular individual. So in that case, you have to be first put into the picture about the behavior approaches. And similarly, I'm here sharing with you at the beyond of the regular competencies that are the behavior competency or the behavior approaches which you can next you utilize or put into the action to identify the individual image for your organization. When it comes to the competency, so every organization, they identify the two types of the competency. It is really a reality, or there are the two types of the competency. One is the functional competencies. Functional competencies means when an function has been given to any position, assigned it to, how they are competent to perform those tasks. So these are the that are known as the functional competency. Then it come to the next one, where the many organization they mistake. However, we have seen our expert, I have also involved into the designing of the competencies for the organization where we are providing the services. So they have the jargon as well as the long list of the competence, the behavior competency as well as the functional competency. It is okay, but furthermore, when it come to the behavior competency, then it is considering about their attitude as well as their approaches. Not approaches, it is about their attitude, attendance, how they are connecting with the people. When we, or as I am sharing it with you, the competencies beyond your functional competency, that are the behavior approaches, how an individual need to be behave at a particular level or the function what they have been given by the organization. And in that case, those competence and the behavior approaches which align them, connect them with their functions, and then ultimately they achieve an outstanding performance into their given role. So that is ultimately the ideal approach of your employees, or whom organization are looking into their individual employees, so that they can get the best, or they can get the best of the solution or the employee for their organization. Why they need it is about achieving the organization. So otherwise there is a required all the time stick and pushing with sticks is required. That is not. If you are implementing or these approaches which I am sharing it here with you, so you can ultimately remove the 50% risk of your organization where there is the high rate of the attrition. But how it come with this? So this is starting with the very basic point, which is you may well aware about the first principle by the organization. When it is into the thought process action of your organization, then you can transfer that into the, or you can transform your employee, as well as you can transform them into the way what you are looking for as an employee image into your organization, what they achieve. So now it come to the, when you are looking for an ideal image, what should be into your organization, so that it come with the ideal team members. So however, there I have been shared with you the competencies. So one is the technical, another one is the behavior competency. When it come to the technicality, where the maximum organization, when you are screening, hiring the individual, then you focusing on their talent means their knowledge, and second, it is about their ability, how well they can know about, and considerably they have the deep knowledge about the product. Now third one, which is the important part, everyone have the knowledge, maybe extended broadly and very micro level and very deep level or very advanced knowledge, but ultimately when it is into the organization, then it come about how you are utilizing that knowledge, information for or into your organization, that the given role, how you are utilizing that your talent and ability, that will be regulated by the competency. So that are the behavior approaches. So when you are designing an ideal employee image, so it need to be focused more on the behavior approaches. It does not mean behavior means how you are behaving with the other members, with your seniors, sometime in the organization there, where it considered as a good behavior by their HODs. The people or the employee, they are only to the shaking good hand and always praising them. But in context of the organization and the ideal image, it is about getting the result done and getting or giving that maximum or beyond the maximum performance into the given role. So that's why in an ideal image, it is important you can achieve the maximum achievements through the or into these organization. So that is about where you have the that the combination of talent, ability, and the competency or the behavior approaches. Means when you have the combination of the ideal, the competencies, which is the functional. Secondly, when you have been control and regulating, monitoring them with the behavior approaches or competencies, then ultimately you can get the best result with the employee into the organization. That image is also known as you are automating the people processes into your organization, how an individual automatically can achieve those given roles and the desired result which you have been expected. So that is the rule. Now it come to how to identify or achieve those organizational goal. Every organization, they have their goal. Either first instant it is about the financial goal. So when it come to the financial goal, so that you have to be achieved, you have also a broader perspective, depend on your services as well as your product, whatever is there. Ultimately, the organization who are holding the business leader, and secondly, there are the people, or which is known as the human asset, human capital, human resources, that are ultimately to achieving that objective of those organizational leader with the identified processes. So everywhere, every product, you have always the identified processes. In that, when you are aligning the individual into your objective, so that you required, number one, the organizational goal. And in that, the ideal image that will be help you to achieve the organizational goal in a higher way or beyond to the expected, what is expected from an individual by the organization. So it is beyond that when you implement this ideal image into your organization. When you are coming with, so what could be or what is the base of this ideal image where you have to be focused on. When it is coming with the ideal image for an organization, they are looking for the individual in their organization, because every individual who are appointed into your organization, you have been deployed, so they are posted on somewhere, some positions. So when it come to your behavior or approaches, competency, and the image, so for every position, you have to be identify an employee image. So that come with the three different perspective, different fundamental, and the different pillars or different criteria. Then after, it will be help you how you have to be measure their competency level at the where they have to achieve the performance in the higher side with these ideal approaches. So it comes with the three perspective which I am sharing it here with you, that who can give maximum performance by effectively they are using their jobs or managing their job with the problem, solving the problems into the organization. Then second, it come to helping the organization to developing, which is the issue of the organization they are facing about the organization development or the employee engagement. That is coming with when you are involving those people, they are effectively, number one, involving into solving the problem. So in every organization you may have been faced the issue of the problem, there are the problem also, either the problems are coming into the constant basis, the same problem coming into the next. So what is happen, you are just trying to correct them with some corrective action immediately or the preventive actions. When an employee, you have an identified image what they have to do and what approaches they have to be initiate or demonstrate while they are into their profession or into your that particular position. When you are defining it based on the three level or the three pillar, which is the model I'm sharing it here with you as in the behavior competencies or the competencies that achieve maximum success into the organization. That is about the number one, how they manage their jobs, their task, what you have been given to them. Second one, what role they contribute into the organization as well as the human development into organization. Third one, most important part, how they use their mind professionally. When you are identifying or focusing on these three tasks, so it means you are automating the human approaches and processes into organization, what they have to do. So it will especially help the organization to achieve their goals or the given that the performance into the maximum level or beyond to the maximum level, when you will be define the criteria based on these three perspective, that is your job management, your organization as well as the human management. And third one, how the individual they utilize their mind while achieving or while fulfilling accomplishing their task. It is not about behaving with the other, it is about the relation with the task. You have to be identify that actions and approaches and behavior of the individuals. Then it come to that, when you are putting how your employee image look like when you have to achieve the maximum performance or beyond the expected performance into the given role, then first one, you have to be develop their mental state or their mindset. It is about how they utilize their mental approaches while they are into their jobs. Either it is at the bottom level, it is in mid level, it is your the advisor level, and then at the top level below to your management or who are the business owners. Then secondly, it come to the two broader part, right and left. Then in one side, the same volume, there in the same volume, that is about the job means their task. Now, is the individual employee they are focusing on the preventive actions or just correcting the action? Maximum employee, I have also worked and still I am also working for the organization, and in there we have seen when we are implemented and this particular image of the employee into the organization, so there we have seen where the people only trying to just provide a corrective action for a time being, then in the next instant that the same problem occur again. So it is about the mostly how the people think or your employee they thought about the sometime corrective actions, where this image or when you are identifying the approaches or behavior approaches for the individual and the next level, you are also putting in behind the ideal functional image of an individual their approaches, so they will be always think about the long term perspective. When you are thinking about the long term perspective, so it will be automatically come with the preventive actions or either sensing of the problem beyond that or before that when they will occurs. And if they will be occurs, then what types of the actions required to be performed and took by the individual employee, that will be depend on their mind management, how they manage their task with their mentality. Third one, it come about the organization, because every organization you have some organizational philosophy, you have some organizational goal. Then it is also expected by the every employee that they are also getting something really required, or every employee they are looking for, they should be either promoted, they should be get higher number of the appraisal, they should be recognized, they should be appreciated. But in that case, in a reverse of that, the organization have a similar expectation beyond their job performance. It is about the how they develop their organization by themselves. So it will become how they putting their efforts or approaches to developing their organization, and the human capital for the organization. It is about their subordinates, how you are putting them into the actions also, or developing your policies for the organization. The third one, it come to the how you can identify your employee image. It is coming with that the you need to be first identify, or number one, design the organization. When you are designing an organization in a strategic way, so it ultimately will give you all that paths open where you can identify. So in that, number one, the foremost thing, it come into the perspective, or the first instant, it is about the organization philosophy. When or till then there is no proper and systematic philosophy of your organization, you cannot design an organization, or every HR strategies could not be successful. So for that, what you have to do, number one, you have to be design a functional organization, and before that you have to define a organization philosophy. And the organization philosophy, that is the combination of the three valuable actions objective, which is known as your mission, vision, and values. So there you have to be put three things into the your bucket, or either into your organization philosophy. And philosophy is what? It is about your guiding principle which guide your corporate actions. When it is, if you an HR, you are sitting into in either in a location or either into the corporate, when your management, who are the organization leader or either who are the business leader, till then they are not within aligned their organization philosophy, or either they don't have, even though as per the companies act 2013, every organization they should have mission, vision, and values into their memorandum of article, what they have to achieve. But is that really working on the ground, and they are having those or such philosophy available into their ground level working, so that you can ultimately design an effective organization for your businesses or your company. So in that case, number one, it is coming with the mission. So mission does not means it is just a financial. Mission means where you have to be reached. It is defining the multiple perspective. It is your financial, it is your quality, it is your support to the society, and it is about delivery of your services, what you want to achieve with that is your mission. Second one, it come about the management principle. To achieving that first mission, it is coming what types of the resources or efforts people are putting, or your management are putting behind to achieve that mission. It is depending on those area of the management actions, how you are achieving those missions which you have been defined. Then third one, in your philosophy, it should also be the individual, what you are looking for, as well as how those individual have liberty into your organization, how you are treating them, what is the organization principle and the perspective to the individual, how you are looking for. These are the three objective or the pillar of your philosophy, which should also be into your philosophy, so that you can design an effective organization structure for your organization. So there it is coming when you are putting or identifying the competencies. So there you have to be align them with into the organization where you are designing. Then you have to be align it with the individuals. When you have been design your organization based on this philosophy, so you can effectively identify your competencies and align them with the organization. Someone has been asked the question, does the competency based on your function department or it should be organization based? Always your competency should be based on your organization based if it is not there, because in the organization there are the different positions, and in that positions you are deploying every individuals. So it should be based on your whole organization, then you need to be align it within the, or with every individual, means every individual should be aligned with your organization philosophy, so that it will be come through the designing of your organization. So now it come to the next stage. So image you have been thoroughly understood up till here. So what is into the employee image, which is based on the competency, and especially what it should be into the behavior approaches. So we have been consider here the three perspective, the three branches, as well as the three pillar of your ideal employee image into organization. So that is in the base how the individual they put their mind while they are into their job and achieving their task. Second, it come about their managing the job, and third one, it is about the organization design and development. Then it come to the next level. Now you have been just imagine, and you have now these three perspective into your mind, and then now you are just documenting it on the paper. So what you have to do, because competency design or identification is not a one time job, it is not just the one day job and one time you can do. You have to be multi time reprocess, while or before that you does not completely assure that it will be effectively according to your organization, because the competency when it is based on the organization and you have to be aligned the competencies that are based on your organization design and how you are designing your organization, then equally you can identify the image of your individual employee and the competencies to achieve the maximum or beyond the maximum performance into the given role. That is about the how to design these competencies. So it come to here when we talk about the competency, so it come with the jargon of the knowledge, skill, ability, professional designations, knowledge, skills, standard, framework, whatever that may be, multiple things you can add on. So maybe any many organization they have their competency model in itself, so they are defining it into the divided it similarly as into the two parts. One is your functional competence, which is identical to what an individual need to be perform or need to be act while they have some tasks. Secondly, it is coming about the behavior competency, so that is about their attitude, how they are putting their efforts, their personal characteristics, as well as their standards, how they are putting their career development. Similarly, the other parts or other things will be added as in the your behavior competencies. But beyond to this, the behavior competencies, when you are identifying an image, you have to be go further with their approaches. That approaches I have been shared with you, that is about your mind, jobs, and the organization development and the human development. So when it is you are just identifying the competencies, so first you need to be understand that how these competencies come. The competencies come with the level of competence. Competence is the effectiveness or effective approach of an individual to do something with perfection. So that's why number one, you have to be identify the competence. It is about the number one, the functional competency. So it is based on the core of your attitude, knowledge, and skill, which required for the functional approaches or the complete accomplish some functional tasks. This is important. So that's why in the beginning I have been shared with you that the competence is the one of the key factor or the compensable factor for your competency identification. When you have been identify the competence, it is based on the knowledge, skill, and the attitude, so that is required at every level of your functions. But next one, you have to be go beyond to this, where you are identifying the image or defining an image, designing an image. That is about the approaches, that is the behavior approaches, which come with the combination of your knowledge, skill, ability, that is the talent, and the efficiency, proficiency, as well as the behavior. When you are putting in the picture the competence level, it is where the someone their skill and ability is there and into the special field with the subject where who or he she is doing something well. It is also known as the expert into the area, specialist into area. But it is he or she is a specialist into that area, but further their approaches of the expected behavior where you are designing the ideal image, then you have to define their behavior approaches. For example, here into the organization there are the two sale people. Number one, who is good in the getting result. For example, in month you have to be sell 1000 product, so they are selling in effectively, they are achieving, or one he is achieving, second one he is also achieving. But what is the difference between the approaches of these two? Your sale manager, number one, who is achieving early and quickly within one talk, what he is doing, he just approaching the customer, then he negotiating something to under table, I will be give you that if you approve my product and start business with us. So 2% will be your share. Whose share? Who is the counterpart of the approving authority for that customer. Second number, the second manager or who is the salesperson, he is approaching those similar way, but not the putting the under table some commission. He is approaching into systematic way. He is keeping their own organization into the front and then having a win-win situation for both, where also assuring some quality standard or as well as the quality product and services to the organization. So in that case, in the first case there is the risk of the quality to the customer, but in the another case where you have been defined an image for the individual, there he is continually focusing on the customer, negotiating with them when they face an issue. So he is first instantly also looking forward their action with all level of the communication and getting the thing done within the time limit. So who will be the ideal employee? So ideal salesperson will be second one, where he is keeping his organization at the first instant in the first priority, and then when he is keeping the customer that the organization into first priority, then he is also putting the action or keeping in them in confidence to that they will be provide and assure you the quality of that product if any issue comes. So in that the same level of the quality with the services or the additional efforts too. So that is your employee ideal image, and that is your behavior competency. When you are designing this, so then first it come to the designing or defining your competence level. So when it is everywhere, it will be applicable for every organization where you are defining, designing the competencies. Either it is for your number one, the functional competencies. So number one, it is coming with the whatever the task or activities, how you are completing. Second one, it come to the managing the task. One, it is required to be complete. Second one, where it is the next level, managing those tasks. Third one, handling the contingency and the working within the rule. So these are the four level of the competence design. It is coming with that like an individual from an beginner becoming an expert. So that is your competence level for the functional competencies. But at the each level, you should have the behavior competencies, so that is determining by the image or either the way I have been shared with you the three level of the competency. Even though the in the broader level or the micro level, when you are defining the competence, so there it may be the different types of the task, like where the individual they require to be complete some task, like how to do the task. So there is one single task like for a computer operator. So their work is to daily they have to punch some data. So number one, how they have to do, they should have the some little bit knowledge about the key into the computer, how to lock, how to get the key, how to punch that, how to save, and that is the task. Number two, their knowledge and skill required for this. So now when you are putting for that task, you are always looking for their skills, like computer skill they should have, some software skill they should have, then secondly they should have the quality. So that's why in the many organization where the computer skills are used or the typing, say they use to get the functioning and the speed of the typing. So the quality of work is within the expectation. So you have been drawn some lines or the parameter, either it may be the 5 scale of that evaluation where you are putting the 1 2 3 4 5 in which scale where he or she is founded or fall. So accordingly, that is their proficiency level. Second, it come about to the task when you have to be managed. Second level. So it is about the, like, in your organization there are the different hierarchy of the people in the bottom level who are like the assistant or who are the operating staff, or their task is to complete the job. So that is the one, anyhow they will be complete the job. But another way, how they are completing it systematic within the time, or that is their behavior approaches, which I have been shared with you the ideal image. So that is defining. So first one, the competence will be give you the instant ideal instant for how and what you require to get those technical tasks, which is sometime known also the functional competence, the technical competencies. But next level, it is about the approaches. So approaches mean, does he demonstrating the same approaches in all the way, or it is about the sometime occasionally whatever. So accordingly you have to define the criteria of the evaluation and assessing those competencies. It is the next level of the function. First you have to be identify those. So it is about the managing of the task too, where it come to the managing the task, it come to the combining the task to complete. Number one, they have to be complete. Then after, it is the larger work activities also, where you have to be arrange, you have to connect, you have to communicate with the people too. In current task, it is not possible here, which I am sharing with you. That is about the competence. It is the base of your identification of the competency. Number one, the task. When you are going to the broader way, you can also identify the behavior to the next levels that I am also sharing with you. First, you have to understand about the how it will become with the competence level where it is the functional competency. Then you can define their approaches. Similarly, when it is the managing of the different tasks. Third, it come to the contingency, like the problem solving. So contingencies are there where you required unexpected circumstances, what they do in the changes of the scope, what they need to be do, and what to do when things are wrong. So this is the functional. So they need to be take corrective action, they need to be communicated, but how they communicate it, that is your behavior approaches. So similarly, it would be described into the all to the functional as well as the behavior approaches into the job role, now working effectively with the other. So now it come to the other. Other means when in the organization there is one part and services, all their different function, they are working together. So it is required. So now it come to the competency, how you are working with the other, how you have to be approach other people. What is your role here? Someone is coming to you multiple time, but you are ignoring. So what is your level of the competence here? Because you also know that how you did, but due to something, either it is your attitude, you can define it, or either it is your level of the arrogance, so you are just ignoring, or either you are just putting it into the just a slagging box, so that the other person, he she could multiple times, sometime in the organization, the many, if they are the some other the senior people, or they require to become, he can become or she will become to me many times, then after they just enjoy inside. That is not the ideal working way into the organization as well as the corporate or IT functions. It is also the reason of the corporate politics also. And so that's why here I'm sharing with you something beyond that, which only used by the 5 to 10%, or either less than 10%, but 5% organization are using this strategy to having these approaches or identifying the image of their employee at the different level, what they have to behaviorally function and how they have to be approach, or what type of the behavior approaches they have to be demonstrate. Then there are the other circumstances also. It is about the functions when you are identifying the functional competencies. So in that way, in every task, what it is required based on the competence level, you can identify the next level of behavior approaches. Similarly, it is the first part where you are defining the competence, because the competence is about the changes or changing according to or over the time, like for the beginner it is little bit, in mid level, third level, fourth level, till the expert level it is going to be changed. And there is the span of the time also, which is in the different time where required to be learned, then relearn, and then accordingly it may be sometime that consistent, or sometime it may be changing based on the competence level at the different levels from the beginner to the expert. That is your functionality. But it come to now the second level, as the question asked by someone with that slide, can it be identified by or defined based on the two different types of the competency. Number one, it is the competency of the functional competency which required to perform the task. Second one, it is about achieving the maximum performance into the given task where you have to be deliver some performance. So that is known as the behavior competency and the approaches. Name here I have given the behavior competency, but the objective and ultimately it is the approaches, behavior approaches, how an individual have to behave. The three set I have been shared with you: their mind, their jobs, as well as the human and organization management. Now you see here, the behavior competency is what? You have both the talent and ability. The talent and ability is the functional competency you have, but you are not utilizing the right way to demonstrate your talent and ability or achieving your goals into the a way or the behavior that here I have been shared, or consider it as the competency or the behavior competency where continually you are negotiating with the customer. Customer means whatever it is, your internal and external, or similarly you are working upon in the same way as the example I have been given inside your organization where the other function. So someone is coming to you multiple time, you are looking to that he should become next time, you are not declaring in one time. So that is also not the right image of the organization and the corporate functional behavior of the individual. So that's why you need to be design an ideal way for your organization where you can achieve the maximum performance into the given role. So now it is about the how you have to be now manage, assess it based on the, there you have to define the criteria, either it is the 5 scale rating or something, but before that how you have to design and implement it. So secondly, when it come to the behavior competencies, so the competence level we have been seen it here for the technical competency where you have defined it based on the 4 to 5 different levels. When it come to the next level, now the behavior approaches, you have the organization, and your organization you can divide them based on their functional, their role into the 3 and 4 different bands. When it come to the different bands, then it is about the different grades and the level you have. So when it come to the like functional competency, it may be different into the different organization. In the maximum, it is not the 2 and 3, it is 98% organization where they are not based on the functions. Somewhere in the organization, if the role position has been given as the executive, and another hand it is about the position of assistant manager, they two are working into the same role. So what it does mean? It means your organization is not designed and aligned into a strategic way, or your organization is based on the function. It is just a designation. So either when it comes to the function based organization, so it means in one function, if someone is on the one position, their role are similar. So this will help you. The competence and identification of competency will help you to who should be given what role and what individual. If he is on particular position, he has to perform the same jobs only. So in that case, the second level beyond to this, how to control, how to automate it, then you have to be identify the image of the employee. So that will be through the model of the competence, the ideal competency model, which I have given the name it here. And then I'm also sharing this ideal model image here. So now how you will be, base is the mind, their mental approach, then job management, organization and development. Now it will be, now you can divide it into the 3 parts. So at the function or the below level or the ground level, who are those individual or the position at the below level, you can categorize it into 3 and 4 band. Then you can labelize it according to the, in one band there can be 3 to 4 position, and then after it is about your label, then the categories also. So in that you can divide it according, but the competency should be, behavior competency should be same, but into one instant, in according to the change of the label, it should be change accordingly. So what will be happen, it will also help you where you are recruiting the people, you are promoting them next level. So this competency model will help you into the next level. So now what types of the, just instant I'm sharing it with you, what types of the ideal employee may should be. So in, at every level, everyone's role into their mental job is about a continuous drive for achievement, what they have been given. So they should be continuing pushing themselves behind that. It is the self acceleration action or the image. Then committed to the organization and customer. So keeping the organization into the first priority as well as their customer. So accordingly the organization. So that's why first instant you need to design a philosophy, so that the management as well as your organization or your individual, they should be aligned together. Then it come to job management. So they're the first focusing on the problem solving everywhere. And then secondly, it is about how they lead the people and the function. Third one, organization and human management. It is about the how you are developing the organization, either what is your role to provide input or opinion related to your functions, strategies, policies, what you are having into organization. And secondly, it is about the opportunity to learning individuals themselves and their subordinate or their colleagues too. So these are the 5 level of the competency or the behavior approaches you can design. Now it come to the next level. When you are designing the competence, so there you have to be design one format or either the competency guide format where you require some criteria. Number one, the competency you are designing based on this particular, like in this way, the senior management or the manager, then there should, you have to be put a competency statement. So what is this competency? What is expected? What is their role? Then it is about, then you have to define some performance criteria, what it should be, right and wrong. Then the sporting knowledge you have to require. Then the term you have to be define it. So this is like the format how you have to be designed. Then second level, when you are designing this competency, then you have to be keep something into your mind. So that is about the how you are putting the different concrete action into these competency where the individual required to be demonstrate. When it comes to the particular competency, so the format should be look like this. Number one, their competency statement for that particular, it is maybe the label. Then it is about the criteria, then sporting the knowledge, or then key term accordingly. When it come to the competency, then you can utilize the behavior competency or the employee image design based on the competency. You can utilize it the multiple objectives into the organization, where you can utilize it for the your workforce development and planning, training and learning into the organization, and then assessment and the credentialating your employee. Then it will be help you into the while you are recruiting. So it is the maximum organization the issue, or even though we also organization we are working for, there we find that the people, they are not getting the right people for their organization, and how to identify or how to select the right people. So this model of your employee image will also help you into that. Secondly, learning and development, it will also now at the this particular stage when you have been identify the functional competency and the image. So in that you will be automatically get an gap between the desire, knowledge, skill, ability and the present, or it will also help you into the talent audit into your organization. Then your performance evaluation, succession planning and the talent auditing. This image identification will help you into the multiple functions and multiple approaches, all about this how you can identify the competencies and the design and employee image. So at the this point I can share with you, number one, you required an organization philosophy where you have to design a strategic organization that will be rooted through your philosophy, management thought, as well as to the aligning of the individual with the competency. When it comes to the your organization, you have been designed what you are looking for, then it will become their competence level come out. When your competence level will be come out, you can design one part the functional competency and second part the behavior approaches required by the individual to achieve those given role to reaching to the ultimate access of your organizational goal, so that you can identify the ideal image with using your competency level or the behavior competency. So that here I've been share with you the one model which is known as the ideal model. It is designed by our expert with the IIM and Hinda Japan. So this is utilized my or by or maximum by the Japanese organization, and this is the Eastern approach. So only the 500 Fortune companies, within that only 10 to 5% or 5% only organization using this approach, and they are the successful organization. This model is also known as the competency or the organization success model. When it come to the here, when you can utilize this ideal image model or the for the different objective to achieve into your organization where the organization are facing such issues. So then how you can be learn about, if you want to be learn, so here we have some solution for you at the next level. So there we are providing the two types of the solution where the organization, they can, or the individual, they can become expert into this competency design implementation and the identification or the employee image design. So for that we are providing two types of the solutions. One is we have a designed the fully functioned toolkit where you can utilize them based on your self-study basis and studying your organization, then you can implement it with the processes based on your understanding. Then second solution is we are also providing the mentorship with our experts so that you can get the right way to implement immediately these competencies into organization and become a successful competency developer for your organization and a HR specialist. So when it come to the solution, so number one, it is about the we have designed two toolkit where first one it is about the ideal competency model, and second one it is about that the image creation. Number one, it is about defining how to define the competence with the identify the competency for your organization at the different level into your organization, and secondly where how you have to be identify the behavior competence and the image. The model I have been shared with you, the same model you will be get with the every steps how you have to implement it. So this is the first solution. So this first solution where it we have been divided into the first part, it is the whole, we have been divided it into the four parts. Number one, where you have to define the competence at the different level, so different functions into your organization. Based on that, you can design the competency framework. Third one, it is now using, you have been designing the competency framework into organization, and then how to use those competencies now into your organization to identify the image. Then third one, how, where you have been define the framework and the using of the competency, then now you are developing it further for implementing into organization. This is the part one. Second one, it is this designed separately the ideal model where we are providing the fully separate format how you have to identify where you have to utilize it. Then the different level of the competencies at the senior management manager level, then the primary management where it has been divided into the different clusters, and your ground level workforce what types of the behavior competency should be there based on the three pillar model. So that is into the one or the this solution number one. So this, however, these are the two broader book we are coming with, or you can either find it on our the website also, or as well as our LMS also. So there it would be around 2500 each. As the digital format, it is around the 1100 each, so around 2400 too. But here, if anyone want to go with this, so they can get it into the live session at 1199 only, both the module number part one and the part two. This is the one. And second one, we have also the mentorship program with our experts who are the expert into these domain or this competency design, organization development and design, so you can get the mentorship with them. So for that we have the mentorship program specially for designing of the competency and the developing specialist, which is started one batch. We are starting from the 9 December. It is the live batch and it is the cohort learning where our expert will be meet with you every week to guiding you into implementing the competencies, and they will be mentor you, help you based on your queries. In that, it will be a thorough guiding program for the 1 month. There it is also the certificate program also, where you can get the certificate program from SLA with the assessment. There will be proper assessment also. We have a separate for that. You can go through our website and thoroughly go with what is the procedure of certification and getting into that. So this is all about this today's program. If you have any questions or either you want to go next with the model, you can ask it here me. So if you have any questions for the next 5 to 10 minutes, I can answer those questions. And if anyone want to go with this, they can write in the chat box. And if anyone want to go with the mentorship, so they can also write in the chat box. So our team will be connected to you by tomorrow. If you have any question, you can ask it here, so I will answer all your questions. If no question, so thank you so much for joining this live session. So I expect here there are no questions and only 3 more members are there live now. So thank you so much for joining this live session. And possibly we organize these master classes on every week. So in the next week, we will also meet with some another next step insights related to the competency identification and design of the employee image. Thank you so much for joining this live session. And okay, Divya, thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Yes, Sudha, you want to ask? If you want to ask some question, you can ask it here. Either you can unmute yourself or write in the chat.
Yeah. I just
Yes.
want to ask if competency, behavior, and functional is fine. We can
Yes.
understand. What
Mhm.
about like if the technical competency, if you talk about, and we are from the technical background.
Functional and
In
tech.
that case, what do you think?
Oh no, what you understand about the technical function and technical is only one thing. Technical means where you have to achieve or you have to be get some jobs done. So that is the technical competencies. So you have this is just your combination jargon of the word you are using. It is function. Function means when someone you are technical means what? If an engineer is
So
there.
technical, as far as I know, it's only the eligibility criteria, right?
Mhm. No, how
Uh,
it is
to do
criteria
that
of
particular
eligibility.
job. So
Mhm.
apart from that, technical, behavior and functional competency is more
Mhm.
important. You mean to
Yes.
say that?
Yeah. It is
But
about the
but it
number one.
can't we
If
can't expect it from the very beginning of the career and all. You know?
why you cannot expect it from the very beginning, because it is changing with the span of your career. Because in the beginning level, but you cannot put them when it is at the end means when you are just, if I give you some instant, that if you are evaluating the competency how they have achieved, you have to draw something at the end, like in the you have to divide it 3 to 4 criteria. In the lower side, I mean the lower that the ground level workforce, their competency, that is the behavior which they have to be developed. So they're achieving their jobs or achieving their task rather than what they have been given. So there you can focus major on the competency development. When it will be upper side, so more you have to be focused on the performance is especially your functional competency where you have to get the result. So that is the difference between the two. However, the behavior competency is the behavior approaches how an individual into the given objective. So there may be the 2 types of the objective. One, you have been given for the what they have to be achieved. If you have been the that design your organization based on the function based organization, so there you have been lined the objective with the every function. So objective, it come to the number one, they are the there are the day to day functions. Number one, day to day function. So that is not the part of their 100% performance they have to give in the given objective. For example, every year you have the number one the task, why where the organization or the who are the strategy design where they failed. It is about where they put themselves into the day-to-day task, or they align them with their functions. So that's why it need to be, it is said that only the 80 that the 20% of the task or actions which is most important and essential, that will drive you the maximum achievements. So that's why your competency should be focused on those areas only. So what I'm here talking about the behavior competency, that should be about those 20% of the task, or 20% of the that the function role you have been given to them out of their 100, which will be drive the 80% of your performance into their given role. Is it okay?
Okay. Just
Yeah, so that is.
yeah, just one more thing.
Mhm.
Just what do you think? Like when or after how much tenure we should start mapping the competencies of the freshers or a new joinee person?
Okay, so it is about 1 year you have to be give them chance to learn. At least 1 year you can, after 1 year you can start it. Minimum 1 year you required, because
Okay.
1 year when you are hiring someone into organization, so year he is learning from their managers. So either first time the manager who are directly whom they are reporting, so they will also share how they have to behave. But at least 1 year you have to give them time to be learn, settle within your organization, and then after you have to be put into the bracket of the competency. Now you have to be follow this approach, because 1 year you have already given to them that how they have to behave into the organization. It will be automatically, if your manager are good, you have already defined the behavior competencies to your manager, so they will also design themselves or their subordinates accordingly. It will also help you automatically those people who are not into your, either you have been selected them the wrong selection you have been done, if you don't have the competencies, but it will be automatically filter those people who will not be match those competencies, they will be automatically evaporate from your organization. Then next level it will be, now after 1 year you just put them into the criteria, but it will be depend on if it is individual at the level of the manager, and one is at the level of your executive, so their competency should have, must have some gaps there, or it should be different, not gaps, it should be different from the manager to the executive. So that's why you have to design it into the different bands. When you are designing it the different band, and accordingly when one individual come to the another band, so there the competency will be totally changed. Either in one band there can be the one and two position, accordingly the competency are the same, so you have given them broader time to manure, or either that to develop those competencies to achieving the organizational goal. This is the way out. Similarly, that similar way we have been
So
designed it into our that the toolkit also, you can check out it there. Yes, please.
okay. Okay. So ideally, you mean to say at least minimum 1 year we
Yes,
have
at least you,
to.
yes, you have to give, because first time you are hiring someone, either he or she is the already working, or he she is already into the profession. But every organization they have the separate word that the either in the maximum organization in India, maybe if you talk about the Indian organization, there are no competency level, the design or defined competency. What we are here sharing with you, it is just into the 5 to 10% of the organization they are using. So this model is not available, but at the instant, or when you are putting, when you have already the competency into that, first you have to give them opportunity. Because when you are pressurized somewhere, the competency, the behavior approach, that may be that defined as the pressure for the individual, but it is not the pressure, it is the right way how they have to achieve the goals, or it is defined or designed by the organization to achieving their goals. Why an organization hiring the workforce for getting their job done or their objective to achieve. So that's why the individual have to be work accordingly. So that's why here, which I have been shared with you, that is about the designing of the image of individual, how your employee should look like. It is not their facial, it is not their body language, it is about the functional and approaches. So that
Okay.
is the way.
But I've seen mostly companies they are using this competency mapping during their PMS. Even after the completion of the tenure of 3 months, and when they are looking at their KRA and all,
Mhm.
so they're introducing the term competencies mapping
However,
even after 3 months of their tenure.
no, it is how they measure that. So measuring means it is the two way of measuring also. Either it is number one not measuring, it is just communicating them, this is your competence, this is your behavior approaches. You can say that
Might
sometimes,
be.
yeah,
Okay.
organization, what they do, the competency. I have also worked for, and I am also working with our mentors who are the founder for the SBR Learning Studio. So we are also providing these corporate or the organization development services too. What organization do? They have the set of the competency which they have been somewhere copy paste, or one time they have been pasted. So technically they have been defined the long list 18 9, and that the 80 90 competency of there. So what they are doing, so they are just identifying they are within that or not, just on formatting they are. But ideally, when you are defining, you have to be that communicate them in the beginning when you are putting them into the picture or into the organization, when you are orienting them. So there is this separately when you are having the ideal approach or the ideal image. So you have to be communicate with them. Number one, you have been hired with that process. First one, the individual they are prepared during the interview. Then you have been put that they are within the criteria. But after that, when they are come into your picture during the orientation, you have to be give them proper communication, and these are the expectation from an individual into the organization. So they will also that prepare themselves what they have to do. So it will also align with the their that the progress map or their roadmap into organization. If they will be fulfill these criteria of the competency, one achievement is the separate part, the technical competency is the separate part. Technical competency is the functional level of their talent and ability, what they are and how they have to achieve the performance. But next level is achieve beyond the expectation. You have one straight line or the threshold line. Who will be able to that? Those are the high performance people. So they are the best talent for your organization, and you can keep them, you have to retain them. Those are the most important. Or otherwise, who are not important for you organize, why you are paying the salary to them? So accordingly, you have to utilize, or this model you can utilize for the talent auditing also. Okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Got it, got it. It was very nice interactive
Okay,
session.
thank you so much.
Really.
Okay, bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good night everyone.